Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace and blessings, love and light, and welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I'm a minister, spiritual life coach, author, and founder of Redefining You, LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And if this is your first time tuning into the How Now podcast, welcome to the show. Make sure that you go over to www.hownowpodcast.com. Click on your favorite podcast platform and make sure that you subscribe, like, follow, and share. Or you can click on the banner and join me on the YouTube channel, on the How Now YouTube channel, where you can check out some of my shows in replay. And you can also follow my wellness journey. Again, that's www.hownowpodcast.com. So let's get into tonight's show. We're going to be talking about living victoriously and talking about strategies for living in the now. We know that, we are in a pandemic. We continue to be in this pandemic, but that does not mean that we just have to exist. We have the capability to live a victorious life, even in the midst of this pandemic. And we need to start seeking ways in which to embrace that as we go into this new normal, as people are saying. I don't feel like it's normal. It may be new, but we are existing and navigating in this new space and in this new time. And we want to be able to do that victoriously. And to help me to talk about that is my wonderful guest. And as is customary with the How Now podcast, I'm going to have her to introduce herself at this time.
Thank you, Kim, for having me as a guest on the show. I appreciate that. I am Jeanette Jones. I own a company called Living Victoriously. It's a life coach and retreat company for women. I help women who have given all their time to others, because as women, we pour out so much to others. And sometimes we neglect ourselves and we don't take care of ourselves. So I help women get back on track, get what they need, build the confidence, build the self-love, so that they can proceed along with their purpose in life, whatever their purpose may be, so that they can move forward with the confidence and the self-love.
Awesome. It is so great to have you here, Jeanette. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us to talk about living victoriously. So let's start first with talking about, what was going on in your practice prior to the pandemic.
Prior to the pandemic, it's a long story, but to make it short, prior to the pandemic, I'm still in mental health. I also do mental health assessments for clients out of Atlanta. Before the pandemic, I was doing my assessments, all that, everything was going well. I went back to get certification as a life coach because I wanted to add that to my business. Yes. I went to Life Purpose Institute in San Diego, got my certification, 2019, building my business, momentum up, everything's going great. And all of a sudden, COVID. So as we had, kind of rethink things. You had to kind of reposition yourself. But it was a good thing because it gave me time to do some meditation. During the pandemic, I had to reposition a lot of my thinking, a lot of my mindset, my attitude, because I live alone. Mm-hmm. So, it was a big challenge. I'm a people person.
Right.
So I enjoy being back around people. I'm, from a family, it was 6 of us.
Okay.
So I'm always used to being around people. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, oh man, this is tough.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of that has happened with the pandemic. It has caused us to make some, professional and some personal pivots. Just like you were saying, you had to meditate, you had to start thinking about what were some things that, that you could be doing differently. It's always difficult when we have to sit with ourselves and, sometimes we let the busyness of life, kind of cloud that out, where we don't have to necessarily sit there. But when you're forced to sit there and look in the mirror and start assessing some things that you're doing, it's an undertaking, right?
And that was me, Kim. I had to sit with myself saying, okay, what are you supposed to be doing right now? God had given me a vision years ago to write a book titled God, the Everlasting Anchor. And, that had been 10 years ago. So I was like, okay, this is a time for me to get started on that. So I started writing my book. I started meditating. And then I had to look at the name of my business. Living Victoriously means that it's living on purpose with an attitude and a mindset of overcoming and winning in all areas of your life. So I had to rethink a lot of things in my life. So I tell people, I think the pandemic had some bad things, don't get me wrong, but I think it was something that had to happen.
Oh, yes.
To get a lot of us back on track.
Yes. I've mentioned this in previous shows. We have to be careful what we wish for, because a lot of us have said, stop the world, I want to get off. We used to say that many years ago. Stop the world, I want to get off, and the world actually stopped. It was like, okay, I was just playing. I didn't mean that.
I'm ready to get off now.
That's right. Okay, and so the ride was over, and just like you said, it was a matter of saying, what do we do now? How do we move in this space? And I think a lot of people really looked at, what was some projects, what was some things that I wasn't doing or that I should have been doing, and that now may be, apropos. It may be something that's necessary for people to hear, and so I think a lot of the changes that have been made is a lot is walking in obedience. When we talk about living victoriously, I'm sure that obedience plays a part in that as well, huh?
Exactly. And, we must think like a winner, an overcomer, because if you don't, you're just going to be stuck. And creative, positive mindsets where self-care is definitely important in this time, living in the now that we're in. Self-care, such as meditation, daily exercise, and journaling. During this time, I had time to sit about and think about my health as well. So I hired a personal trainer, lost, weight and everything. And now I still, maintain it. So that was one of the other things, exercising, the meditation, and journaling are three of the things that helped me through the pandemic and still help me.
Right. And you touch on three very, important things. You talk about the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, and those things are key. So, let's take a deeper dive into those things, when we start talking about, the physical, like you said, making sure that we're tapping into our health, seeing where we are, so what are some tips that you think you can give about, regarding the physical?
I think first we have to clear our minds, and that's where you use the meditation. I think the meditation helps clear your mind because it helps you stay focused. It helps you to get rid of all of that toxic things that you're thinking about. You can sit there and focus, and it just helps you center yourself and stay focused. So once we've cleared our minds, we can clarify our passions. What are we passionate about? And it's important for us to recognize what gets us excited. What gets Jeanette excited? What gets everybody else excited? Your passions are those things that seem to keep coming up. What's that gets you excited? And your passion gives you drive.
Right.
And, we often think about our passions. For instance, travel is not one of my passions. I love travel. And to travel to me is important because you get to meet other cultures and, history, you learn all of that. But, I think staying on focus, number one, is clearing your mind with that, the meditation. Then if, you're into, say you want to change your health, then you have to have the mindset to do the exercise and the daily routine of fitness. You have to change your mindset because your mindset is going to help you change the eating habits. It's going to help you go to that gym when you don't feel like going to the gym.
That's right. I love that you say that because you're right. It does start with the mind. It doesn't start with the physical. It starts with the mental. It starts with your mindset. Yes. It starts with clearing your mind. And I love that you say that. Clearing your mind because our mind is filled with so many things because social media, you have the news, things are flooding our ear gates and our eye gates, and we have to be in a position to be able to block some of those things out And there are so many people that are doing that now through meditation. And meditation isn't for everyone. Some people are like, I can't focus. Sometimes it's guided meditation. Sometimes it's a matter of saying, I need some assistance in that area. But clearing your mind, like you said, is vital. Just being able to get to a space where you can think of something outside of everything else. It's like, it's like a blank canvas.
Right.
You've got things going on, and you've got to be able to clear it so that way you can start bringing in those positives that need to come in.
Exactly, to bring in the new. And some people may not say meditation is for them, then journaling. If you sometimes I'll take just instrumental music and just let it play and just write. And sometimes I'm writing more than I had intended to. I'm saying that for 30 minutes, an hour, just writing.
Right.
When I intended to do like maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's like the soft music is playing and I'm just writing my thoughts.
Yeah. So, and that's good too. And that's a good way of clearing as well. Like you said, the journaling, to be able to sit there and put pen to paper and just write down. And it doesn't have to be that you're writing a book or a story. You're just writing down thoughts, things that are coming to your mind. So, it's like a mind dump, you're putting things down that are happening. You may just say, it may be your grocery list. It may be, just that, there's something that you've had on your mind to do, or maybe it's somebody that you had on your mind to call, but it's writing all those things down. And then, for some people, it may be random like that at first, and then you can start to be more purposeful about your journaling, right?
Exactly. Because it may start out with you, like you said, just making a list of things, it could be anything. And each individual, it's up to them. It's their story. They need to own what is for them, not to, okay, I want to do what Jeanette says, I want to do what Kim says, but what's good for them.
That's right.
And when you writing there, it just let it flow. And sometimes I would go back to my readings and I'm like, I wrote that.
Right. Sometimes we don't realize how profound we could be. And then, some people discover that, wow, my goodness, I can write. Or maybe I should write a book. Or maybe, maybe I'm choosing to write my story, and they start writing and they don't realize the talent that they've had, because people don't tap into all of the things that they're capable of doing. And when we try new things, that's when we come to find out what we're good at. Just like when we're children, they tell us to be childlike in our thinking. And so when we're childlike in our thinking and we start doing new things, how do children discover that they're athletic or that they're talented? They try.
Yeah, you got to try.
Yeah.
And just to, another thing is I help women to love themselves.
Yes.
Because that's, to me, is very important, because any of these things that you do, whether it's meditation, exercise, or journaling, the number one thing is love yourself.
Yes.
Love yourself. And the confidence will come when you love yourself.
Yeah.
Make yourself a priority.
Make yourself a priority. I love that. And that's important. Just like you said, when you're sitting with yourself, that's an opportunity for you to get to know thyself.
Right.
Because you really start evaluating and saying, okay, well, where exactly am I in my life? What station am I in? Am I where I thought I would be at the age that I am?
Right.
Am I in the place where I thought I would be? Is there, have I created a 3 to 5 year plan for myself, or shorter? And have I met any of those goals? So it's like, it's a time of self-discovery.
Yes.
And that's why my business is called Redefining You, because you're going back to finding yourself again, looking back and seeing what some of those things were that you were doing prior to the roles that you began to take on. Because we are so defined by the roles that we are in, that sometimes that defining confines us.
Exactly. And that's why I help women that, like I said before, that gives everything to everybody, but they neglect themselves, because we are so, that's just who we are as women. We're just nurturers, we're givers. And sometimes we just don't do the self-help and the love for ourselves.
Right. Right. And it's amazing how we can do that. And we said that we're people, we're people I'm a people person. And
Mhm.
I always tell my clients too, okay, you're a people person, but don't you realize you're a people too?
Right. Right. We
You're
forget
one of
that.
those people.
We
So
forget that.
right, we forget that. We forget that, every morning when we get up and we, go to brush our teeth and wash our face, the first person that we see is us.
Right.
If not our spouse when we turn over, or the person who's laying next to us. But, once we get up and we go and we look in that mirror, it's us,
Exactly.
we're that first person.
And to mention with women or whomever is listening, that don't be afraid to ask for help
Oh,
anytime any help is needed, whether it's any area of your life. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the thing. You need help, ask. There's plenty of coaches out here. There's plenty of mental health. There's plenty of fitness, people that know fitness and dietary in and out. So just ask for help. People, meditation is, you can get meditation teachers, yoga teachers. Ask for help.
That's huge. That is
Yeah.
huge, because that is something that we don't do all the time. We think that we can do, and especially as women and as nurturers, we're so used to doing everything for everyone else. We'll be the last to ask for help because we're the helper.
Right.
We're
Right.
the person who always helps others. So, we're hard pressed to ask somebody to help us. And just
Yeah.
like we're a nurturer, there are others who are nurturers out there who are looking to help us.
Exactly.
If we're just willing to say, okay, I'm not clear on how to do this, or I'm not sure, and I think a big part of asking for help is making sure that we're getting that help from a reliable source,
Right. Right.
somebody who has experience or tenure in that thing that we're looking to achieve.
Right.
And
And you
sometimes
just,
we'll ask everybody else. We'll ask cousin. We'll ask Uncle
yeah.
Bobby. We'll ask cousin Tom, who's never worked a day in his life in finance, but we'll ask him what to do with our money.
Right.
We won't go to the right people. So
And I'm glad you said that, Kim, because that goes back to valuing yourself, loving yourself. Do I need to put out some money to help myself? Like fitness, hiring a personal trainer, it was very expensive for me.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed it for more than one reason. I have a lot of, physical illnesses running through my family.
Right.
So it's like I had to get my body straight.
Right.
So I wanted to get my body straight. So it's like you have to know when you need that help. Ask for it.
Loving ourselves and asking for help requires an investment.
Yeah.
And we are quick to invest in other things, and we know that those type of investments, like you said, can be costly, but it's just a matter of, like you said, asking for help. Sometimes it's a matter of asking, is it possible that I can be on a payment plan? People are can be flexible.
Right.
Some cannot. If it's necessary for you to open up a savings or put monies aside until you can get to a certain place where you can put down a down payment or do something of that nature, it's important to begin to invest in ourselves, because it's amazing how when we really want something, we can find the money. How can you find $200 for a pair of sneakers, or how can you find $200 or $300 for a track of hair?
Right.
But you can't invest in yourself. We are very capable and competent people, and a creative people, and we can find ways to finance and do the things that we need to do when it's absolutely necessary. But sometimes we just don't feel that it's necessary to invest in those things.
Right.
But if we're not here to enjoy it because we haven't taken the steps to take care of ourselves, it's in vain.
Right. I had to check myself. I would, spend money on vacations, even though I'm enjoying it, but I needed something deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I needed something deeper,
Mm-hmm.
just for Jeanette, meditation and, the exercise. I needed something deeper.
Yeah, we have to lay the foundation so that way we're not standing on sinking sand. We're actually standing on a firm space for us to be able to move forward. So like I said, you said clearing your mind, that's important to make sure that we're clearing our mind and that we've got ourselves set up for success, or that we've made ourselves open to receiving the things that we need, or to be able to identify the things that we need, because sometimes we don't ask for help because we don't know what to ask for, because we haven't sat with ourselves and identified what it was that we need help with. So we don't have the words.
Exactly.
So clearing your mind is definitely important. And then, like you said, asking for help, and making sure that we're going to the right resources and investing in the right resources if necessary, to make sure that we're in that space of being able to move forward.
Right.
And then you said talking about our bodies and making sure that we're tapping in. You said you have a family history. Know your family history with regards to your health issues, and what are some things that you can do to be proactive and preventive. What measures can you take to make sure that it stops with you? They say some things are hereditary, some things can be reversed. What can we do to reverse those things and not make it something that continues on in our family, but that stops with us?
Right. And it goes back to the self-love, the confidence, and your purpose, because you can't really walk in your purpose if you're sick.
That's right.
You can't get clarity if your head is all fuzzy. So if you meditate, get your head clear, you can get clarity on where it is you're supposed to go.
Yes. And then, like you said, you have the energy to do it if you're taking care of your body. Exactly. Okay. Because you can have all of the thoughts in the world, but if you can't get up out of that bed, or you're lethargic, or you're tired all the time, then you don't have the energy. And then you're not going to have the desire to do anything because you're tired all the time. So that's important too. But just like you said, that self-love, that self-care is so important and so vital. So what are some things that you do to help your clients to be able to reach that area of self-love?
I teach them first, like I said, to clear their mind with meditation and self-love. Look at who you are. Sometimes I use an exercise for them to look into the mirror and tell me who they see.
Right.
Who they see. And some people, it's just hard for them to even say anything, who they see.
Right. Sometimes, like you said, we're existing. We just look in the mirror and we are brushing our teeth, but we're really not looking at ourselves. We're looking past ourselves.
Yeah, because most of the time I was at a meeting today and the lady said, because women will hold the baby, vacuum the floor, and answer the phone all at one time.
That's right.
And that's us. But when you're doing all that, you're neglecting yourself. And when I say, look in the mirror and see what you see, some can tell me and some can't.
Right.
But it's important how you see yourself.
Yes.
That's the important part, not how, somebody else view you or what they say about you, but how do you see yourself? So that's one exercise I, have them to do, to look in the mirror at themselves.
Yeah.
To see what they see.
And it's so interesting because it's the same thing when we introduce ourselves. We rattle off all of the things that we are. Oh, hi, I'm a mom. I did at the beginning of my show. I'm a life coach. I'm a spiritual life coach. I'm an author. I'm a founder. But just not our personality traits. I'm fun loving. I enjoy dancing. I like to, listen to different types of music, or I like to sew, or I like to, we don't tend to tell people the hobbies and things. We tend to rattle off the things that would make people be impressed with who we are. Oh, you're a mom. Oh, you're an educator. Oh, but those are all titles that we've been given. And yes, where titles are wonderful because we've worked hard for them, or we've earned them.
Absolutely.
We have to be careful not to just be defined by those alone, because there's more to us than just, those titles that we are. So I like that you say that, look in the mirror and tell me, who is it that you see?
And I work a lot with my clients on, who are you? Before we move any further, who are you? Figure out who you are first, because we can't go any further if you don't know who you are.
Right.
So we got to figure out who you are. You have to figure out who you are then, we can proceed on. Because if you find out who you are, then you got to love you.
Right. Right.
And if you don't know who you are, how can you really love you?
That's it. That's it. You have to be able to identify those
Right.
things about you. And then even in doing that, that's not looking at ourselves and finding all the things that are wrong. What
Right.
are some of the things that are that you love about you?
Right.
And that's a wonderful question that I didn't ask too. What is it that you love about you?
Exactly.
That one thing, or those two things, those three things. We think about. I think about. I'm in education, so typically I ask the teachers, what is what are common behaviors that you see, and they're like fighting, kicking, scratching, yelling, spitting. Right? They rattle off all of the negative things, and no one ever says sharing, or that the children show compassion towards the others when they're hurt or injured, or they play well together. You never hear those things because we go right to the negative, because we're conditioned to do that, to find the things that are wrong with us instead of the things that are right.
Right. And I try to teach my clients to look at the positive.
Absolutely.
What do you like about yourself?
That's right.
What do you love about yourself?
That's right.
Build on that.
Right.
Tell me you love one thing, we can build on that.
That's right.
You love two things, okay, we can build from there.
That's right. It's just like when you're in a relationship and you're not looking for all of the negative things. Yes, you're mindful of those things, but when you're in a relationship with someone, you're looking at those things that you like about that person. What is something about that person that you enjoy, and you have to do that with yourself as well. What are some things that you like about yourself? Because when you're by yourself, what do you like to do for yourself? If you don't know what you like to do for yourself, you're just going to sit there.
Like to read? Do you like to sing? You like to dance? What do you like to do?
That's it. And to begin that love affair with you. So I think that's something that is critical, and like you said, in being able to live this victoriously. So like I said, so we've talked about the mental, the mindset, and we've talked about some of the physical, and making sure that we're partnering with the right people to help us to optimize our health and to be able to have the energy to do things that we want to do. Now let's tap a little bit into that spiritual piece. What are some things that we need to do there?
I still believe in meditation is spiritual. Yes. I think meditating is spiritual because it quiets you down.
Yes.
And you're with you. And whomever you worship, whoever you believe in, it's you and them.
That's it.
It's you and them. I put on Christian music when I do my journaling, but that's me, and it's instrumental. But connecting to your higher power is definitely important. Whomever you choose to, to worship and to believe in is definitely, important.
That's right. That's right. I love it. You say that it's source. There are so many people that will say that, they're religious versus spiritual. There's so many, ways in which people worship. And it's just a matter of finding that way that you worship.
Right.
Or that you have a time of devotion.
Right.
What that looks like for you, no matter who, source is, whether it be God, Allah, whomever it is that you choose to worship, just being consistent in that.
Exactly. Yeah. And the book that I'm finishing up on writing is called A Step-by-Step Walk with God, The Everlasting Anchor. So it basically tells about my spiritual walk with God from the beginning. I start out from when I was a child, and it goes all the way up to my current life. But without his presence in my life, I want my readers to know, without his presence, none of this would be possible.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah.
Because Jeanette can't do it alone. Jeanette can't help people to love themselves and look at themselves to see who they are. But without him, it would be none of this.
That's it. He is that, the one who loved us first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knows our life from the beginning to the end. So that is something that is beautiful. And you know, I love that you were able to talk about that in your book and to be able to talk about that journey, you know, because all of these things, and I think that's important for people to understand as well. All of this is a journey.
It is. It
You
is.
know, and it is not one for the faint of heart. It is not a sprint. It is something that we're doing continuously, you know, always tweaking. You know, we had to make a hard pivot, I believe, when this pandemic hit. But now that we've made that pivot, or we started to make that pivot, now we've got to start taking baby steps towards rebuilding, you know, what it is that we want to do moving forward.
Right, right. And I think the spiritual aspect is definitely important in that, you know, because like I said, a lot of things you can't do on your own.
Right.
You can't. You can try,
We can try.
but
We can
it's not,
try.
you know, you're gonna find yourself, like as they said, a dead end wall, you know, you'll bounce right there. Because, you know, like in my book, each time I was proofreading a section the other night and I, you know, tears started flowing because it's like how I, you know, like you say, it's a process. You go through this, you go through that, you see the highs, you see the lows, but you know God is with you know, with me through that whole process, whether it was the highs or the lows.
Right. But then at the end, you see the victory.
Right. And then
Yeah.
at the end, you know, you talk about the business, the, you know, the things I, you know, did, the accomplishments, the this and that. But still, without him, none of that, even graduating from high school,
That's right.
you know, because that was an accomplishment.
That's
So,
it. Every little thing, and that's important to remember too. It's the little things.
right.
It's just not always the grandiose things. It's just the victory. Sometimes it's just the victory of the day.
Yeah.
You know, that you were able to get up, your eyes are open, and you were able to see a new day. You were able to get done the things that you needed to get done, or even if you didn't, you were able to get something. You were able to get out of that house and do something. You were able to wash that dish. You were able to you know, successfully brush your teeth, clean your body. There are so many things that we take for granted, you know.
Right.
Something so simple as brushing our teeth. There are some people who don't have the capability to do that,
Right.
or they may require assistance to do that. And so we have to start looking, you know, at things with you know, with eyes of gratitude,
Absolutely.
you know,
And I
to
talk
just
about
to, yeah,
in my book, I talk about, you know, support system. Having a support system is very important.
yeah.
I always had the support of my family. They've always been my number one cheerleaders throughout my life. So, you know, support is very important.
Okay, and that's it. Yeah, just like you said, it is. It's always good to be able to have people who are going to uplift you, not people who are going to be crabs in the barrel, you know,
Right.
pulling you down and you know, dragging you down. And want, you know, misery loves company, they say, right? And so people are always looking to tear down instead of building up. And so, just like you said, it's important to have that support system to make sure that there are people out there who are who are partnering with you as you're going through your journey, not looking, you know, standing behind a tree waiting to trip you when you go by. You know?
You need those people. You put them to the side.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I love that because you know, these are all, like you said, things that are going to help you to be able to not just exist, but to live and to live victoriously. Because as you begin to master these things, as you begin to make these things a part of your daily walk, you'll start walking and living in that victory and realizing that you're doing it, you
Yeah.
know, each day you're doing it, and that's a victory in and of itself.
Yes.
So I
Look
love
back.
that. I love that we're doing that. It's about victory. It's about not just walking in a space of you know, not looking at what's going on around you. It's a matter of being present,
Right.
you know, being present and being in this now and being able to say, okay, where I am right now may not be where I want to be, but I'm on the path
Right.
to where it is that I want to go. So I love that you're doing that to empower women. Talk a little bit to me about about the travel aspect of your business.
I have a travel business where I offer group trips to, it doesn't necessarily have to be women, group trips to individuals. the trip I just came back from was California with a group of girls. We had a retreat there, and what was it, Manhattan Beach, California. That was very nice. And I am doing my own retreat in January, looking for a venue now, whether it be Charleston, South Carolina, or Costa Rica. Kind of torn between both of those right now. But I'm just starting out doing retreats for women.
Awesome.
And, I do group trips, like I said, for anyone, but I love, love, love traveling. I had the chance to go to Dubai in 2017, and that was awesome.
Nice.
Just to learn the culture of other people and the history, to me says, just learning about the history of other people, because if you only stay around your own people and your own, US people, this is all you know.
That's it. And I love that. And so on the retreats, do you do meditation for those, or do you do like workshops while they're during the time that they're there?
Yes, we're going to do meditation, workshops, yoga. And I want the people to have a chance to, wherever we are, whether it's Hawaii, Costa Rica, or wherever, to have a time to tour where they are also.
Explore.
Yeah, because I don't believe I would want to bring them there where we just, we get healed, and, I want to do some energy healing too.
Yeah.
So that's another step. But I don't want to bring them all the way there and not let them learn a little history and a little culture.
Absolutely. I think those are the best trips. The best trips that I've gone on is not staying at a resort behind a wall and the people who are native to that area, I'm never seeing them. I'm just seeing a beach and a bar and other things that, are behind that wall. I like to go out and be amongst the people. I want to eat what they're eating. I want to go where they go. And, those are wonderful experiences. Like you said, when you get a chance to go out and be amongst the people, because just like you say, you're immersed in the culture and you're stepping outside of your comfort zone to learn something new. And what better way to do that than to immerse yourself in a culture that is unlike your own. So I love that you have that traveling piece as well as the retreat. So that way they're having a time to center themselves in a different place too. And for those who may be challenged with the meditation, being able to be out there in different waters and seeing different things, may help them to center and focus on something outside of the hustle and bustle of their regular lives. So I love that's a portion of, that's a part of what it is that you do in your coaching business as well. Okay, so let's just recap a little bit about what we, about living victoriously and what that looks like. We talked about, clearing your mind and first loving yourself. And then I'll let you do it. You're the one who knows best. So we talk about first clearing your mind.
Right. Like I said, living victoriously means that you're living on purpose. Yes. With an attitude and a mindset of overcoming and winning in all areas of your life. So we have to think like a winner and an overcomer. And you have to create positive mindset. And you can do that by meditation and just sometimes just being still with yourself. And if you want to journal, you can do that. But the daily exercise and also tapping into your spiritual energy. Whether that be, like I said, whoever your higher power is, tapping into that. And really loving yourself and just knowing who you are is important, to just love yourself. Because the more you love yourself, the more confidence you're going to have about yourself and in yourself.
Yes. And that's where you get that victory. That's where that victory comes in.
Exactly.
Because you've had victory over all of the negative thoughts and things that were going on with you. And now you can shine and walk in that power that you have that comes with self-love and self-actualization.
Yeah. Yes.
I love that. I absolutely love that. All right. So before we start wrapping things up, tell people how they can get in contact with you if they're interested in possibly traveling with you or being a part of your retreats or just getting with you with regards to your coaching. My website is JeanetteJonesLifeCoach.com.
And you can find me on Instagram at Jeanette Jones Life Coach. And you can also join my Facebook page, which is Let's Travel Victoriously. And it may let you in there and it may not, but if you send me a Facebook request just on Jeanette Jones, I will accept your Facebook request and then let you in the private group for Let's Travel Victoriously.
All right, Jeanette Jones. Okay, so that is www.JeanetteJonesLifeCoach.com. Same thing on Instagram, you said?
Yes, at Jeanette Jones Life Coach.
Right, at Jeanette Jones Life Coach, and then Let's Travel Victoriously on Facebook. But you can join her on Jeanette Jones and on Facebook, and she will respond to your request to join the Let's Travel Victoriously page.
Yes.
Okay, so those are wonderful ways in which you can get in contact with her, and we'll make sure that we have that on the advertisement for the show, so you'll be able to connect with Jeanette that way. Okay, now Jeanette, one more thing that we asked, and you've kind of answered the question, but we'll ask it again. You know, we always ask our guests at the end of the show, how are you living in the now?
I am living in the now by doing my meditation, keep continuing to exercise, and also growing my business. And I am new to Charleston, South Carolina. I just moved here 7 months ago from Atlanta.
Okay.
So my now is getting out, meeting people.
I love it.
Because I've been in the house for 2.5 years.
Right.
So now I'm getting out to meeting people. I went to 2 networking events, one Thursday, one today, and I'm going to one tomorrow.
Awesome. So you're getting out and having a chance to connect with people, because we know that's our life's blood, to be able to go out and to connect with people.
Yes.
You know, and it's huge, and human touch, and just to be able to go out, and we're, taking whatever precautions are necessary, as, we're still in the time of pandemic, but, there's nothing like that human connection.
Yes.
It's what binds us as brothers and sisters. It's what helps us to understand each other, and biblically speaking, we say to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, but you see, it starts with us first.
Exactly.
Then we can go out and spread that with others. So I want to say to you, Jeanette, thank you so much for coming and being on the show, for talking about steps to living victoriously, some things that we can do to help to make that pivot that we need to make, both personally and professionally, and just making sure that we're moving in the right direction, remembering that this is a journey and not a sprint. Okay, is there one other thing or a few other things that you like to share with our guests before we go, or with our listeners before we go?
Just want to let them know to love themselves. That's the number one thing, to love yourself.
All right.
And take yourself as a priority.
All right. Love yourself and keep yourself as a priority. You heard it right here from Miss Jeanette Jones. Again, thank you so much. We wish you the best in all that you do moving forward. And as I say to all of my guests, this is how you're living in the now. This may not be how you're living a couple of months or a year from now. So you are always welcome back on the show to come and share with us anytime you like, so that the offer is extended to you, and we look forward to having you come back and spend time with us again.
Thank you so much. I definitely will be back.
Great. Thank you so much. And that will do it for this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. And until I see you the next time, I say peace. All right.